Hello and welcome to Life at Home this new week. How was life at home last week? And I hope that life at home this week has been off to a great start. If you are in a country where Eid is celebrated, I'm sure that you are having a public holiday today. Maybe you are resting or you had some time during the week, maybe yesterday or last week. Whatever day it is, but you got some time to rest. And I hope that your time at home was a beautiful time. You were not overwhelmed or stressed due to the demands of home management and having to cater for the family. And even if you were stretched a little bit, because you know that celebrations come with their own kind of stress, I hope that you've been able to recover quickly before the new work week starts. Okay, so in this week's Life at Home video, we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic. It's light-hearted. You would have fun discussing the topic, and I'm sure that you will get some insights because these are not just things that are word of mouth, things that you can Google and find. These are things that have been tested, have been implemented, and I have gotten results in not just in my home, but with clients also. So in this new week, we are going to be talking about how to receive and how to get help in your home management. Help in the sense is not just domestic staffing, it's not just hiring help. There are other ways for you to get help in your home management, and we are going to discover how you can, get that's going, get people involved, get people happily involved, get people excited to join you in home management so that it doesn't become and remain your responsibility alone. I'll see you in a few seconds. One of the fastest ways to get help in your home management is to actually ask for it, right? Not squeeze your face, not frown, not get angry that nobody is helping, but to actually ask for help. You'll be surprised that everyone around your home actually thinks you have home management, checked out because you don't ask for help, because they do not see the amount of work that is involved and they just see it as normal day-to-day life. So until you ask for help, you may actually never get it in your home management, and that will be a huge disservice to you when you have everybody around you who can help, who are able to help, and who may even be willing to help, but might not necessarily take that cue except you ask them for it. So your words are a useful tool when it comes to your home management. And I know that, as a working woman, as a busy woman, it might not be so easy to ask for help because you are used to getting things done. Help sometimes can connote vulnerability. It may seem that, okay, you don't know what you are doing. You are too dependent on the people you are asking for help, but not in this case, because home management is actually everyone's responsibility. It's not just one person's responsibility. So when you are carrying the whole weight of home management on your shoulders, it means that you are carrying more than you should, and people are willing to help. You only need to ask. So I want to share with you some of the words you can use that you can start to use that would enable you ask for help and also receive the help you're asking for, because it's one thing to ask and it's one thing to receive. You can ask for help, but if you don't ask using the right words, it may be impossible for you to actually receive the help. For example, when you ask people, do you think you will be able to do this for me? Do you think you'll be able to handle laundry this week? Right? You are giving them options, and for example, they might say no. It depends on how inclined the person is to help you. For example, they might say no, but if you say laundry has been scheduled for you to handle this week, right? It's an information that is being passed across and saying this is your responsibility to bear for this week in this home. And then you can go on to divulge information on other responsibilities that people have to handle within the home so that they know that they are not the only ones handling that responsibility. So language is so important when you want to receive help in your home management. The first thing I would tell you before languages is that you have to come with the mindset to say that you are not just asking for a favor or help, but you're actually, there to give out responsibility. Because home management is everybody's responsibility, everybody has to have a responsibility they are carrying. So you are the one who is taking that responsibility to apportion other tasks to people, apportion responsibilities to people. So don't feel bad for it, don't feel guilty, don't feel scared that they may say no. Because you are coming with the mindset that it is a responsibility issue, then you are set out to convince them to take up that responsibility, to praise them to the point where they feel sufficient enough to take on that responsibility, right? So when you're coming with that mindset, then we can now focus on the right words to use. So you're not asking for permission, right? You are delegating a responsibility. So you are not begging, you are not saying, please, can you handle laundry? No. You say, can you handle laundry on Tuesday, right? Your responsibility for this week is laundry. Can you fix it for Tuesday, right? Another word you can use to get help is to share the chore schedule that you have created around the house, especially if you don't have a domestic staff and you are the one who works with the schedule. So you share the chore schedule and you'd say, out of everything that has been listed here, which of these responsibilities would you like to take up for this week, right? That is helping them to see the scope of work. So when they can see the scope of work, they can actually say that it's too much for one person to handle in a week, and then you tell them to pick one or two responsibilities from it. That way you are giving them autonomy on their decision. So unlike the first method saying, can you handle this one, they get to choose what they feel most comfortable with doing. And nothing empowers like knowing that you have autonomy over the decisions that they are making. Somebody did not make that decision for you. So you can share the schedule with them and say, can you pick 2 or 3 things you would do from this week? I would appreciate it. And they look at the timing is to get done and you have them commit to it. That's number 2. Now, the third way to get help in your home management is to, actually handle some part of the chore, like the most difficult, or let me not say the most difficult, the most confusing, yes, that's the right word, the most confusing aspect of the chore, and then handle the execution to the person. So for example, you have a box full of laundry, and you want somebody to do the laundry, but you want to avoid them always asking you questions, coming back to say, how am I supposed to do it? Then because at that point you might even get angry when they are coming back every single time to ask you, what can I do? So what do? You handle the most confusing aspect so that even they look forward to doing it another time because it is easier. So you can separate the clothes already, separate the underwear, separate the colored clothes, separate the plain colored clothes, you sort it out already, and then you tell them to handle it. Now that you handle the most confusing aspect, they find it easier to execute that chore. So you don't have to bother about laundry. All they come to do is, okay, I'm just supposed to wash and sort and spread the clothes, right? So that's the third way. You handle the most confusing aspect, the aspect of the chore that will make them solely dependent on you. Once you are able to handle that aspect, you now delegate the rest. And then you see that they are able to execute it easily without coming to ask you multiple questions. And the last method I want to mention that you can use to ask for help and also receive help is to actually schedule help, within their day. Some people find it very hard to make a decision on what to do. So you can help them schedule it and say, I have scheduled cooking. You are cooking, food for the family on Wednesday evening. So please clear out time for that, right? So making a decision for people, indecision can be one of the greatest setbacks. For example, if you give a member of your family the chore schedule and say, choose the chore you have to do, many of them might not be able to, come to a conclusion. Everything might seem confusing all at once. So for such people, you don't just tell them the chore to do, also schedule a time for them to do it. Wednesday afternoon, you are the one cooking lunch for the family, right? And you tell them way ahead. That's a very important point. In order to get help, don't just come a day before and then rush through it. And that's why planning and organization is good. Tell them way ahead. If you are somebody who rotates the chores in your home, for example, you can create a chore routine for 1 month and let people know way ahead what they are supposed to do, the day they are supposed to do it, how they are supposed to do it, so that when the time comes, nobody is falling back on their responsibility, right? So I've mentioned 4 ways in which to get help in your home management, especially if you are somebody who is used to handling things on your own. You are used to doing things without getting help, but you see that it's starting to get to you, starting to overwhelm you. The first point outside the language that I mentioned is that you have to come with a mindset of responsibility. Don't come with a mindset that you're begging for help, or they wouldn't be able to do anything without you present. No, come with the mindset that you are delegating responsibility. Since home management is everyone's responsibility, then everyone should be able to, should be willing to take up the task. So in languages, I said the first thing you do is to ask for help, not beg or plead for it. So you ask for it and say, this week I would want you to handle this, right? And then the second way that I said you can ask for help is to share the schedule with them and ask them to pick. So you give them the autonomy of decision making and ask them to pick two or three. It helps them to see the full scope of work. They can see that it's too much for one person to be, and then they can be willing to help. The third way that I said is to remove the confusing aspect of the chore and then give them the execution. So what might be confusing, that keeps them solely dependent on you, you take it out of the picture and then give them the task to execute, so that they don't have to come to ask you for questions, and they don't feel reluctant to do that chore another day. And the third aspect is to actually make the decision for them. So for those who are not easily, prone to making decisions for themselves, maybe confusing, and so they procrastinate, you can make the decision for them. Schedule a time, schedule, the period they would have to do that, and then share it with them. Make sure you also give them information ahead so that they can plan towards handling that task. I hope that from today you start to get the help you need in your home management. It is so important that you are not carrying the burden of home management alone, the responsibility, thinking about budgeting and planning, thinking about childcare on your own, thinking about chores management, thinking about domestic staffing. It can be too much. Make sure that you carry your family along, because home management is everyone's responsibility. I've loved bringing you Life at Home this week, and I look forward to us spending some few minutes next week talking about another home management topic that you would absolutely love. Don't forget that this is not the only place that you can hear from me. Follow me on Instagram at Made For Me Double E. Follow me on LinkedIn. Look for me, Oreoluwa Shonola. You would find me there. Visit the website and see what I'm up to, www.madeforme.com, and look out for everywhere that I write articles, where I'm speaking, and I'm sure that you will get value from the things that I tell you. I'll see you next week. Bye.